I've sort of had the fortune or the good fortune to see the industry from the very beginning. And back when I first started, it was a very careful, considered, conservative approach to treating a well patient. So very different to what we've previously done before with sick patients as such. So we had this conservative approach, and then I witnessed the commoditization and the commercialization of medical procedures. So where there was an explosion of chains, there was an explosion of clinics all around the world, really.
And we're
And
talking about aesthetic clinics here.
aesthetic clinics,
Yes.
and this was driven very much by consumer demand to have access to treatments that were previously, done in a plastic surgery clinic. And so it became very accessible. And then I've seen it sort of come full circle where the consumer's gone, no, I want a bespoke premium experience. So not only do I want to have access to the latest technology delivered to me by a professional of very high standards, but I would actually really like to have a premium bespoke experience with it as well. So we've sort of seen this full circle come round now to where we've become very patient focused again, but also with premium service. So it's a very exciting time to be involved in the industry. I think in terms of trends that we're seeing in the industry, during that period where we had that real commoditization of your anti-wrinkle treatments and your dermal fillers, and it just seemed to be on every corner in every
I mean, we
shopping
wouldn't even
centre.
talk about it before. I mean,
No,
5 years ago, it was kind of considered a bit, "Ooh, I'll just mention it to my girlfriend that I'm gonna have, half a mil of filler or,
yeah,
I'm having tox," and now it's like,
everywhere.
that's nothing.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. At the same time, there was an explosion because everyone was doing it.
Yeah, and I think the casualty of this was clinical care. And I think that's probably the most important trend, if we can call it that, that we're seeing now is this is regulation has caught up, definitely with the industry. In July 1, AHPRA and the Medical Board have delivered some very stringent guidelines for our industry.
Feel like when I look at the aesthetics industry and when I look at the work around Australia, the quality of the consultation and then the quality of the service delivery must actually be fantastic because when you go to Europe, you
Mm,
don't see the same level of quality workmanship, if you can call it that. When you go to the US, I mean, there are some states where you get off the plane and you go, what happened?
yeah,
What happened to every single woman? It's like they
yeah.
all got the same boobs, they all got the same lips, they all got the
Cookie cutter.
same yeah, freeze
And
and
freeze
desist
and
look.
fill. I think in Australia, we are absolutely at the top of our game of treating skin because we damage it so well. So we know exactly how to damage it. Our skins are older than we are in the majority of cases. Our skin is older than our
Not
chronological.
yours. You
No, not yours either.
no.
It is older than our chronological age, and I think that because of that, we've become very good at what I call a multi-modality approach. It's about not just having this freeze and feel, this one dimension to our clinical care, is to bring in the lasers, to bring in the dermal treatments, to bring in certainly the injectables and the biostimulants as well.
I think to be absolutely fair, so the last time I saw you in clinic was about 6 or 7 years ago, I
Yeah,
want
it's
to
before we
say, in
sold.
Balmain,
Yeah.
and it was the first time I'd really had an in-depth consultation about devices and energy devices that we were going to use with me because I was getting my injectables with Dr. Joseph and I was having my energy device work with you.
Yeah.
And I was quite shocked at like, I think it took like 35 minutes, 40 minutes to have just the consult.
Yeah, yeah, well, actually even up to an hour. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably, one of my messages to your consumers. I get asked all the time, how do I know where to go? Like, point me in the direction. How do I know a good clinic from a bad clinic? It seems like there's just this plethora of different service entry points. So do I go at the plastic surgeon level? Do I go at the dermatologist level? Do I go to a cosmetic physician, a cosmetic surgeon? Do I go to a nurse-led clinic? Do I go to, like, at what point do I enter into this and where do I feel comfortable and safe?
And where do we go and
Yes.
how do we choose? I mean, wow, great question, Susie.
Yeah, it's a huge question, and I think it's I think there's one easy answer because those clinicians, they all have the skill that you require in order for you to look after you in terms of clinical skill. I'm assuming, obviously, we have a few cowboys in the industry, but in general, we're getting better and better educated as a group, but there are different service providers there. What I do say to consumers is to go where you have got experience and skill, whatever that is, not necessarily the qualification, but experience and skill. So that usually comes with tenure in the organisation. But most importantly, look at what they offer you with a consultation. Even if this means you go here, here, and here, and you actually have to trial a few places first. That consultation is absolutely crucial. So in my opinion, it needs to be 45 minutes to an hour long, at least. The use of diagnostic software to have a look at your skin below the surface, absolutely crucial.
I
And
know. I mean, when you have that Vizia, it does not lie. It
no,
it really
it's not a
doesn't.
good experience for anyone, but it's a necessary one.
Why
No.
haven't you measured the result, the end result of the treatment I've had?
Yeah, what you make such a great point. There's the lack of accountability.
Yeah,
And I think it's so the consultation with this commoditization and this explosion in our industry, the casualty has been definitely, as I said, clinical care. But I think it's also been the consultation, our consultative skill. And this consult now has just been shrunk down to being a transactional thing. It's what I need to do to get you over the line. I just need to get you to the point where you have a treatment and pay me for something. And I would absolutely urge your listeners to go somewhere where they feel like, on the website or who they speak to on the phone can give them a really good idea of what's involved in the consultation, and then have the consultation, and then not to commit to anything until they feel completely comfortable. And so I guess the question is, what does completely comfortable feel like?
I was going to ask you
How
that.
do I know I'm kind of in the right place? So I think the consultations need to be, as I said, at least in 45 minutes to an hour using diagnostic software. But here's the ticket. Here's the way of telling whether I'm in the right place or I'm in the wrong place. And that is the treatment and skincare plan that you get delivered. So a consultation should be about a plan that's devised for you, a real plan, not just, everywhere will say they do bespoke individualized treatment plans. What that needs to encompass is, what am I doing this month? What am I doing next month? What am I doing the month after that?
A
Making
lot
it
of people
accessible.
feel bamboozled by the cost of
Yeah,
things. And, they go and see a clinician, they're vulnerable.
yeah,
They're often very vulnerable, and they lay it on the line and they go, I feel old. I've lost my
yeah,
confidence. I've just gone through this experience and I just want to get so it's very different to having a haircut and color. Like,
totally. Yeah,
we're talking thousands of dollars as a minimum,
yeah,
unless you're getting a little shot of tox and rolling out the door with the new sunscreen, and a proper aesthetic plan to
yeah,
get you to a transformative state that doesn't require surgical intervention is a financial commitment.
yeah.
And I guess what I'd love to ask from you is, how do we manage this conversation so that we're not shocked into accepting something we can't afford, and secondly, not shamed into agreeing
Not
to
shamed into
something?
it. Yeah. So again, it comes down to your selection of clinic and who you have there, because whoever looks after you at that point then needs to work with your time frame and your budget. And so it just takes longer. So we used to get clients who would come in and they're just like at a snap point, and I've put aside the money and I'm just ready to go. What do you want me to do? But that was the minority, not the majority. The majority of people that I looked after, of course, had a budget, and of course had time restraints, and of course had a comfort level that they were prepared to go to, but not go over, in terms of, whether that be pain or just, I don't really want injectables, but I'm interested in skin treatments. So it's all about designing a plan that works for you. What I wanted every single client to leave our clinics with the confidence of having a go forward point that works for them, and that they feel better, more empowered in themselves, because they've made the decision that is not just empowering them, but it sits really comfortably with me. It's not out of my comfort zone financially or in terms of what I'm prepared to do and what I'm not. So if you don't leave a clinic feeling that, you're in the wrong place. if you should leave with a plan, so you've had your consultation, you leave with a plan, but unless you feel comfortable that you have made a good financial decision, as well as a good decision for you emotionally in terms of where you're at the moment, then you're probably in the wrong place.